Hi there, this is James Tripp. This is a video going out on James Tripp Chaos Wave on YouTube and on the Hypnosis Without Trance blog. It is on how you can make people hallucinate with hypnosis. Now, this is a very strong title, and I'm highlighting this for a reason, because it's a question that I get. How can I make people do this with hypnosis? How can I make people do that with hypnosis? I had a subtler question recently, which is encouraging me to do this video, which was, how can I use my language to increase the likelihood that hallucination will happen? And this is actually a smarter question, because as people who have been following my Hypnosis Without Trance blogging for a long time will know, I do not believe you can make anyone do anything with hypnosis. I do not believe that hypnosis is mind control. I do believe you can influence how people are experiencing and making up their reality very, very strongly, but there is a difference between influence and control. I can't make anybody do anything, but I can set conditions and increase the likelihood that they will experience certain things. That is really where the skill of hypnosis lies. So in answer to the sort of main question of this video, you can't really make anybody do anything, but you can increase the odds significantly that something will happen. So let's look at hallucination, because in some senses, particularly a lot of the time for street hypnotists and performance hypnotists, having people hallucinate and see things that are not there, or not see things that are there, is kind of like the holy grail. It's the thing that people are heading for. It's the thing that feels like the big win. And I get why, because it's out there. It's crazy, it's weird. It's taking people totally out of their everyday reality into something completely nuts. So I get why it's sort of such a prestigious thing to do. It's also, I believe, the most challenging thing to do. I have the principle in the Hypnosis Mastery Program materials. I talk about the Hypnotic Ladder, where we start with simpler things that most people can do. Idiomotor stuff, this kind of thing. And then we progress to more challenging things through amnesias, this kind of thing, until we finally hit the hallucination point. And the way I teach it there is, by the time we've stepped up the hypnotic ladder, somebody is really responding, you may as well just go for it in the simplest terms, because it's either going to happen or it's not. And if it doesn't happen, as I discuss in the no-fail protocol materials, there are plenty of things that you can do to utilize that in useful ways, what I call the utility termination maneuver. So the classic Hypnosis Without Trance approach to this is simply to elegantly escalate through the hypnotic ladder, increasing buy-in as you go. And this increases the likelihood that you're going to get hallucination. However, it is true that it seems to be that hallucination, visual hallucination, is one of the hardest things to get. It also seems to be true that there's a lot of personal aptitude, what the particular person you are working with brings to the table in terms of their hypnotic virtuosity, so to speak. Are they a hypnotic virtuoso? Can they really do a lot of this stuff? A lot of the time when I've got visualization happening in street hypnosis, hallucination happening in street hypnosis context, the people I've been working with have been such profound hypnotic virtuosos. I didn't have to have a lot of skill to get stuff happening. However, there may be times and places where you have a desire to increase people's ability to hallucinate, and they might not naturally be such virtuosos. And this for me is where I start using more David Grove kind of approaches, Grovian, what's often called clean language. Very hesitant to use that term, because most people know of clean language as a sort of coaching methodology and don't really see it as a profound approach to doing hypnosis. But I use this approach a lot, and what clean language basically does is it draws out of people very personal psychoactive material, for want of a better expression, and it really works with that in quite a pure way to amplify, increase and expand upon that. So the reason it's often more powerful for getting people to visualize, and I'll give you a quick anecdote that relates to this in a moment, is illustrated by another anecdote, which I shall tell you first. So a few months ago, actually it's quite a while ago now, it's probably about a year ago, last time I was speaking at Matt Kendall's Interesting Talks London, I was talking about hypnosis and how you can use that to change your life. And somebody came up to me afterwards and they said, James, that was a fantastic talk, thank you very much, but I don't think that I can be hypnotized. I don't think I'm hypnotizable. I said, really? What makes you think that? And she said, well, a few months ago, another hypnotist came here and they were doing all this stuff and, you know, hands coming together. And it didn't work with me. And I said, oh, right. I said, why should it though? She said, I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. I said, why should it work with you? She said, well, I don't know. That's hypnosis, isn't it? I said, well, let me ask you this question. What is this, hands coming together, magnets, what does it mean to you? She said, well, it doesn't mean anything to me. I said, exactly. It doesn't mean anything to you. But if you were to come and sit with me to change something deeply significant in your life, something profoundly personal and deeply significant, I can guarantee you would have no problem whatsoever engaging with that, because it's inherently meaningful to you, whereas this means nothing. And she went, she got it, right? She got it. But this is something that a lot of hypnotists don't get. When they are bringing content to the field of play, they're bringing their ideas, their metaphors, their decision about what somebody should experience. When they're bringing all their stuff to it and saying, well, this is how it must be. Well, yeah, you can get stuff happening, but if we think about it in terms of influence, what do we need to do? How do we need to move elegantly? We can't control the person, so we have to dance elegantly with them, dance them to the place where they can have the experience. You see, now this is where evoking from them that which is personally meaningful, that which is personally compelling, is a far surer route to being able to get profound effects happening. Now, at some point in the not too distant future, I hope, there's going to be some material coming out from me on using clean language hypnotically and some other stuff as well, that was shot in Brazil not so long ago, and I had some people to work with from Brazil, and one of the people that I work with, and there's a session, I wish I could include a clip here, I just don't have the video footage yet. There's a session I'm doing with somebody, and this person ends up profoundly in an experience that is wildly hallucinogenic with their eyes closed, but they are imagining that they are spinning around and around, and they're actually unable to get off their stool, which they're imagining is spinning around and around. And afterwards, the person who's experiencing this says, you know, that was a very interesting thing because I'm not a very good hypnotic subject, they said. They'd never had any kind of really profound experiences from classical hypnosis, but using this kind of David Grove / clean languaging approach, they had had a profound hallucinatory experience, not just visually, but proprioceptively as well. Profound, and they were quite blown away by this, and they were going, well, how does that work? How come you were able to do that? Well, in a sense, I was able to do that because they were able to do that. And instead of me working against their natural proclivities, instead of me working against where their mind wanted to go, instead of finding what I sometimes call the position of ease for their mind flow and working with that, normally what people have been doing with this guy, the old school classic approach to hypnosis, is to work against the position of ease, to try and force a particular thing through, to try and make them hallucinate instead of finding out how they can do it and going with the position of ease. So, with regard to the question that triggered this video, you know, what kind of languaging can I use that's going to encourage people to hallucinate? And I can't give you any specific examples here because I don't want to get into teaching this whole interactive hypnosis approach, as I call it. I try and stay away from the idea of clean language because I don't want to be caught in that box. But the interactive hypnosis approach of drawing out, evoking from people that which you can then utilize in steering their mind flow in interesting and useful directions. But I can tip you off and suggest a direction to start looking in, and it's more the kind of David Grove approach, the clean language approach. You might be put off when you start to go out and look at that because most of the people using clean language are not hypnotists and do not understand it hypnotically. They are coaches and facilitators who are looking to work in business contexts. If you understand that David Grove was a hypnotist, and at one point he only taught clean language to people who were hypnosis trained, so I am told. If you start to get it as a hypnotic communication model and use it in that way, you can get some very profound and impactful effects that you may not otherwise be able to get with more classic direct suggestions or even the classic kind of Ericksonian approaches. Okay, I hope this video has been useful for you, has opened your mind, opened up new possibilities for research and development for yourself as a hypnotist. If you like this video, if you like the information contained within it, please do like it, give it the thumbs up on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe, make sure you put your notifications on, because there's going to be a whole lot going on with this channel in 2018. I'm going to be really upping the bar in terms of the content, the delivery, all of this kind of thing. So make sure you are on board for the ride, you've got your notifications on and you're subscribed. Okay, take very good care until we connect again.